ang tunay na pangalan ng mga tao, lugar at organisasyon na may kaugnay sa liham na tampok sa palabas na ito ay pinilitan at pinago. Ang anumang pagkakahoy ng mga bagong pangalan sa aktwal na tao, lugar o organisasyon ay hindi sinasadya at nagkataon lamang.
Magandang araw mga consumer! Para sa unang pagtatanghal ng Dear Consumer Care, sasagutin natin ang isang liham na aming natanggap sa pamamagitan ng email. Ito ay galing kay Ginong Tan ng Quezon City. Dear Consumer Care, may binili akong tablet para may magamit ang aking anak. Pero naghang daw ito. Hindi ko agad napapalitan dahil hindi rin agad nasabi sa akin. Maaari ko pa ba itong papalitan sa aking napagbilhan? Maraming salamat po. At para sagutin ang katanungan ni Ginoong Tan, kasama natin ngayon si Director Marcos Valdez II ng Consumer Policy and Advocacy Bureau. Magandang araw po, Director Marcos.
Magandang araw, Denzel. Sa sulat na natanggap natin kay Ginoong Tan, nais niyang malaman kung maaari bang palitan ang tablet na nabili niya. Ayon sa Republic Act 7394 or Consumer Act of the Philippines, ang consumer ay mayroong tatlong karapatan. Ang karapatan na maaaring ipagawa o repair, papalitan o replace, o pagbalik ng binayad o refund kung ang produkto ay nasira sa loob ng warranty period at ito ay hindi dahil sa pagpapabaya o sa maling paggamit. Ang merchant or ang seller ay may obligasyon na isaayos ang produkto. Ang pagpa-repair ay kailangan gawin sa loob ng 30 araw, ngunit maaari naman itong pahabain ayon sa kasunduan ng consumer at ng seller.
Sa mga tuwid, kung nasa loob pa ng warranty period, pwede pa itong ipaayos. Paano naman po natin malalaman kung nasa loob pa ng warranty period?
Pwede natin tignan yan sa warranty card. Kung ang walang express warranty, in other words, walang kasulatan dun sa period kung kailan ibabalik o ipapagawa ang produkto, meron tayong tinatawag na implied warranty. Implied warranty ito on hidden defects na hindi bababa sa 60 araw at hindi naman lalampas sa 1 taon.
Kailan naman po pwedeng papalitan ng nabiling produkto, Director?
Kung ilang beses na ipa-repair ang produkto at hindi pa rin nawala ang pagkasira nito, maaari nang palitan ang produkto.
Paano po kung hindi na ito mapalitan ng seller?
Dito papasok yung pangatlong right o karapatan ng consumer na kailangan na hong ibalik ng seller ang pinangbayad ng consumer kung hindi na ho kayang palitan o ipa-repair ang produktong nabili.
Maraming salamat, Director Marcos. O mga consumer, tandaan, basta nasa loob ng warranty period, pwedeng ipa-repair kung may sira o depekto. Kung hindi ma-repair o paulit-ulit nang ni-repair ngunit may depekto pa rin, pwede na po itong papalitan sa seller. At kung hindi na mapalitan, kailangan nang magbigay ng seller ng refund sa consumer. At yan ang kabuuan ng ating programa sa araw na ito. Paalala lamang po na ang impormasyong aming naibigay ay base lamang sa aming natanggap na salaysay at mga pangyayari na inilahad ni Ginoong Tan. Abangan muli ang Dear Consumer Care sa susunod na linggo. Ito po si Denzel Bunal na nagsasabing, wise ang consumer na may alam. Para sa updates, please like, follow, subscribe to our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube accounts. That's DTI Consumer Care and DTI Philippines.
Ang tunay na pangalan ng mga tao, lugar at organisasyon na may kaugnay sa liham na tampok sa palabas na ito ay pinilitan at pinago. Ang anumang pagkakahoy ng mga bagong pangalan sa aktwal na tao, lugar o organisasyon ay hindi sinasadya at nagkataon lamang.
Magandang araw mga consumer! Ngayong linggo sa Dear Consumer Care, isang liham na naman ang sasagutin natin at ang ating pag-uusapan ay patungkol sa No Return, No Exchange Policy. Ito ay isa sa pinakamaraming tanong na ating natatanggap sa consumer care. Kaya ngayong araw, ating sasagutin ang sulat mula kay Binibining Mulya. Dear Consumer Care, magtatanong lang po sana ako. Nagkamali po ako ng bili ng isang item sa isang store. Noong magre-request po sana ako para palitan ng item, ang sabi ng customer service ay nagpapatupad daw ang DTI ng no return, no exchange policy. Totoo po bang ipinatutupad nyo ito? As a customer, minsan po talaga ay nagkakamali kami ng aming pagbili. Maraming salamat po. At para sagutin ang katanungan ni Binibining Mulya, kasama natin ngayon ang Assistant Director ng Consumer Policy and Advocacy Bureau na si Attorney Cheryl Carbonet. Magandang araw po, Attorney Che.
Magandang araw din sa iyo, Dens, at sa ating mga consumers.
Attorney Che, maaari niyo po bang bigyang linaw kung ano itong no return, no exchange policy na ipinatutupad daw po ng DTI?
Linawin ko lamang, Dens, ang no return, no exchange ay hindi ipinapatupad ng DTI. In fact, ito ay ipinagbabawal sa ilalim ng Consumer Act of the Philippines o RA 7394. Ayon sa batas, bawal na ilagay or isulat ang no return, no exchange sa alinmang resibo o sa alinmang area ng tindahan o anumang dokumento na napapatunay ng bentahan.
Bawal po pala ito. Bakit nga po ba ipinagbabawal ang paglalagay ng no return, no exchange sa mga resibo o kahit anong dokumento na nagpapatunay ng bentahan?
Ito ay dahil lumalabag ito sa karapatan ng consumer na maipasaayos, mapalitan o ibalik ang ibinayad kung ang nabiling produkto ay may sira o depekto. Kung naalala mo yung ating 3 Rs, repair, replace at saka refund.
Paano naman po kung nagbago talaga ang isip ng consumer? O hindi naman kaya nagkamali talaga sa pagbili? Hindi na po ba talaga ito pwedeng papalitan?
Ang pagbabago ng isip ng isang consumer o ang kanyang pagkakamali ay hindi wastong dahilan para mapalitan ang produkto o kaya ay makakuha ng refund. Subalit, may mga seller na pumapayag na magpalit kung sakaling nagkamali ang consumer o nagbago ito ng isip. At ito ay ayon na lamang sa goodwill o sa liberality ng seller sa kanyang consumer.
Paano po kung ito ay aking ipangreregalo lang at hindi ko naman po alam ang tamang size ng aking pagbibigyan? Paano po kaya ang pwedeng gawin?
Makabubuting sabihin mo ito sa tindahan at alamin ang kanilang return and exchange policy.
Kaya mga consumer, tandaan na bawal po ang no return, no exchange policy. Kailangan meron tayong karapatan na maipagawa, mapapalitan ng produkto o may refund ng perang ibinayad natin sakaling may depekto o sira ang ating nabili. Subalit amin po kayong pinapaalalahanan na bago bili ng produkto ay siguraduhin na ito ang produktong nais bilhin dahil hindi sapat na dahilan ng pagbabago ng isip o pagkakamali sa ating pagpili. Makabubuti rin pong itanong sa seller ang kanilang return or exchange policy. Maraming salamat po, Attorney Che. At yan ang kabuuan ng ating programa sa araw na ito. Paalala lamang po na ang impormasyong aming naibigay ay base lamang sa aming natanggap na salaysay at mga pangyayari na inilahad ni Binibining Mulya. Abangan muli ang Dear Consumer Care sa susunod na linggo. Ito po si Denzel Bonal na nagsasabing, wise ang consumer na may alam. Para sa updates, please like, follow, subscribe to our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube accounts. That's DTI Consumer Care and DTI Philippines.
Ang tunay na pangalan ng mga tao, lugar at organisasyon sa liham na tampok sa palabas na ito ay pinalitan at binago. Ang anumang pagkakahawig ng mga bagong pangalan sa aktwal na tao, lugar o organisasyon ay hindi sinasadya at nagkataon lamang.
Magandang araw mga consumer! Tuwing Pasko, bagong taon o anumang espesyal na okasyon ay regalo na ang gift check o gift certificates. Meron ka bang mga gift checks na hindi nagamit ng mga nakaraang taon? Maaari mo pa ba itong gamitin? Ngayong linggo sa Dear Consumer Care, isang katanungan tungkol sa Gift Check Act ang ating sasagutin mula kay Ginoong tagle. Dear Consumer Care, palagi akong nag-grocery at gift check ang madalas kong pambayad. Laking gulat ko na lamang nung ako ay nag-grocery sa isang supermarket at hindi tinanggap ang gift check na aking pambayad dahil ito ay na-issue noon pang 2019. Sabi sa akin ng kahera, hindi raw sila tumatanggap ng lumang gift check o yung mga hindi na nagamit ng mga nakaraang taon. Tama po ba ito? At para sagutin ang katanungan ni Ginoong Tagle, kasama natin ngayon ang Assistant Division Chief ng Consumer Advocacy Division ng Consumer Policy and Advocacy Bureau, Ms. Vivian Alarcado. Magandang araw po, Ms. Bien.
Magandang araw mga consumers at magandang araw Miss Dens.
Ms. Bien, bago po natin sagutin ang katanungan ni Ginoong Tagle, maaari niyo po bang ibahagi sa amin kung ano itong Gift Check Act?
Alam mo Dens, ayon sa Republic Act No. 10962 o ang Gift Check Act of 2017, ang gift check, gift certificate, or gift card ay anumang instrumento gaya ng papel, card o code na binibigay sa isang consumer na kailangang igalang ng isang establishment o tindahan na nagbigay nito bilang kabayaran sa produkto o serbisyo. Dagdag pa rito, ang pag-issue ng gift check na may expiration ay ipinagbabawal.
Kabilang po ba sa Gift Check Act ang coupon o voucher?
Ang mga instrumento na in-issue sa ilalim ng loyalty o promotional discount gaya ng rewards, coupons at vouchers ay hindi sakop ng Gift Check Act. Kaya naman, ito ay maaaring naglalaman ng expiration dates at ang paggamit nito ay sumusunod sa mga alituntunin at kondisyong ibinigay ng tindahan or establishment.
Pero paano po ba natin malalaman kung ang instrument ay voucher o coupon?
Bukod sa ang voucher o coupon ay in-issue sa ilalim ng loyalty o promotional discount, ito ay nagtataglay ng mga katagang loyalty o reward o kaya ay may promo permit number at expiration date.
Sa kaso po ni Ginoong Tagle, ano po kaya ang maaari nating maipayo sa kanya?
Makabubuting suriin ni Ginoong Tagle ang instrumentong kanyang hawak at kung ito ay hindi voucher o coupon, ito ay hindi dapat nagtataglay ng expiration date. Kung ganoon, responsibility ng issuer na palitan ang mga ito ng walang gasto sa parte ng consumer. Sakaling tumanggi ang issuer ng gift checks na ito ay palitan, siya ay maaari ng mag-file ng complaint o i-report ito sa DTI Provincial o Regional Office sa kanyang lugar o mag-email sa Fair Trade Enforcement Bureau. Ang proseso ng pag-file ng complaint ay makikita rin sa DTI website www.dti.gov.ph.
Kaya mga consumer, tandaan, ang pag-issue ng gift check na may expiration ay pinagbabawal. Ngunit kung ito ay loyalty o promotional discount gaya ng rewards, coupons at vouchers, ay hindi ito sakop ng batas. Kaya naman, ito ay maaaring maglaman ng expiration dates. Maraming salamat, Ms. Bien.
Walang anuman, Miss Dens.
At yan ang kabuuan ng ating programa sa araw na ito. Paalala lamang po ng impormasyon na aming naibigay ay base lamang sa aming natanggap na salaysay at mga pangyayari na inilahad ni Ginoong Tagle. Abangan muli ang Dear Consumer Care sa susunod na linggo. Ito po si Denzel Bonal na nagsasabing, wais ang consumer na may alam. Para sa updates, please like, follow, subscribe to our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube accounts. That's DTI Consumer Care and DTI Philippines.
Recording in progress. Happy Tuesday po to all our participants, sa mga nakatutok po sa atin dito sa Zoom, and to everyone joining us live via DTI Consumer Care Facebook and DTI Philippines YouTube. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. You can still invite your friends and colleagues to join this webinar. Para po sa ating bagong participants, ang DTI Consumer Care Webinar Series ay inilunsad ng DTI Consumer Policy and Advocacy Bureau upang makapagbigay ng kaalaman tungkol sa mga napapanahong topic na makakatulong sa atin para tayo ay maging wais, mapanuri at malayang mamimili. I am John Robert Malinis from the Consumer Policy and Advocacy Bureau, and I will be your moderator for today's webinar. For our 223rd webinar session, this morning, our topic is about Extended Producers Responsibility or EPR Act. Pero bago po tayo magsimula, we would like to give some reminders. Unang-unang ating webinar session po ay recorded. By continuing your participation in the meeting, you're also consenting that you may be recorded. We are encouraging you to stay at samahan niyo po kami hanggang matapos at sabay-sabay po tayong matuto sa topic natin ngayong umaga. Una, pakipalitan po ang format ng inyong pangalan. Upang mas madali po namin kayong ma-identify. Maaaring consumer, space, full name, o di po kaya ay pangalan ng company, then your complete name. Kung masyadong mahaba naman po ang pangalan ng company, kahit acronym na lamang po ang gamitin. Please turn off your mic and video during the webinar session unless you are requested by the moderator to speak. Para sa mga tanong, we are encouraging everyone to click the raise hand button to directly address the speaker during the question and answer portion. Or you may send in your question through the chat box. Makinig, makibahagi at makiisa. Magkakaroon po kayo ng pagkakataon upang magtanong sa ating research speaker during the question and answer portion. Panghuli, para po sa mga naka-touchscreen device, please avoid drawing or making annotations on the screen para hindi po madistract ang ating speaker at iba pang participants. Without further ado, let us begin this webinar session by singing the Philippine National Anthem to be followed by the invocation.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Loving Heavenly Father, we come to you this hour asking for your blessing as we are gathered together in this webinar. May your blessings of wisdom and guidance be upon us all through the sharing and impartation of knowledge and skills by our resource speakers, facilitators, and moderators. Bless also the participants so that they would be able to glean the information from this activity and share what we have learned in the spirit of your generosity. Lord, we bring you our prayers, our commitment, our gifts to you this day. Let us who have a keen dedication and awareness of your creation have courage and conviction that we are able to contribute to the sustainability of the earth. Inspire us as we make choices so that we will recognize the impact our lives have on our environment and our human family around the globe. Pour out your blessing upon us today, Lord. May each of our actions reveal our awareness that we are partners with you in the creation and sustainability of this earth that you have given to us to appreciate and enjoy. We ask this in the name of your Son. Amen.
Ayan, good morning po ulit sa ating mga participants. Before we proceed with our session, we would like to invite our participants to subscribe to our DTI 1384 SMS upang makatanggap ng importanteng reminders and updates mula sa DTI Consumer Protection Group for free. Scan lang ang QR code na nakalagay sa inyong mga screen. Again, this service is free of charge. Tulad po ng nabanggit kanina, our topic is Extended Producers Responsibility Act. To formally start our session for today, we would like to call the Assistant Division Chief of Consumer Advocacy Division under Consumer Policy and Advocacy Bureau, Ms. Vivian O. Alarcado. Morning po, Ms. Vivian.
Good morning, Rob. Thank you, Rob, and magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Welcome po sa ating event. Sorry. So, welcome po sa ating ika-223rd na Consumer Care Webinar Series. As mentioned po ni Rob, ang topic po natin for today ay tungkol po sa Republic Act number 11898, also known as the Extended Producer Responsibility or the EPR Act. Ito po ay naglalayon na i-regulate ang paggamit ng plastic sa pamamagitan ng pagre-require sa mga establishments ng isang mechanism para sa recovery treatment, recycling, or disposal ng mga plastic wastes. Ang matagumpay na pagpapatupad ng layunin ito ay mahalaga sa maayos na paglipat ng ating bansa sa isang circular na economy. Para sa mas detalyong information on this topic, we will hear it from our guest speaker for today. So sa ngalan po ng aming directors, sina Attorney Marcos Valdez at Attorney Cheryl Carbonell, nais ko pong pasalamatan ng lahat ng participants kasama po ang ating speaker na si Engineer Esperanza Sahul. Siya po yung Assistant Director ng ating Environmental Management Bureau of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. So hinihikayat ko po ang mga participants na magtanong upang mas marami po tayong matutunan tungkol sa topic natin. Magandang umaga po muli at maraming salamat.
Maraming salamat po, Ms. Vivian. To echo Ms. Vivian. And maraming salamat po ulit, Ms. Vivian. To echo Ms. Vivian, we are very fortunate to have with us this morning our very capable speaker from the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. So let us now proceed to the presentation proper. Our resource speaker for today's session took up Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering in Technological Institute of the Philippines, and she took up Masters of Science in Environmental Management in Philippine Women's University. Currently, she is the Assistant Director of Environmental Management Bureau of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. Let us all welcome Engineer Esperanza A. Sahul. Good morning po, Engineer SP. The virtual floor is now yours.
Good morning, everyone and participants. So, please share na lang. We have this Extended Producers Responsibility Act of 2022, which was signed last January 24 of this year. This was published at the Manila Times and Daily Tribune on February 2, 2023, and acknowledged by the DENR on February 3, 2023. Hence, this became effective this August 13, 2022. These rules and regulations to implement the Extended Producers Act, which is known as the DAO 2023-02, has been As mentioned before, this was signed the DAO this year and would take effect February of this year. Next slide, please. Why and what is the EPR? The Extended Producer's Responsibility answers, among others, a long-running questions from the environment and the local government unit sectors on the accountability and responsibility ng ating mga product manufacturers, producers, and importers. For the post-consumption of the waste that is being generated. This law enforces the producer's accountability throughout the life cycle of the products. This law promotes and focus on plastic packaging waste and its recovery and diversion. This promote the development of environmental friendly packaging like biodegradable, recyclables, or reusable plastics. This will also ease the waste management burdens of the local government units by promoting partnership with the obliged enterprises and key stakeholders. And ultimately, this will likewise reduce the marine litter that is being generated from time to time. Next slide, please. What is the scope and coverage of the EPR Act of 2022? The obligations of this law creates or applies to large entities, large enterprises that generate plastic packaging waste. An enterprise is deemed to be large if it exceeds the limit of 100 million pesos in assets, excluding the land where its office, plant, and equipment are located. Set for medium enterprises by the Magna Carta for Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprise Act as amended. The obliged enterprise under the EPR law could be the brand owners, manufacturers, kasama na rin po yung mga contract manufacturers or importers of consumer goods, whether in their original packaging or to be repackaged. However, yung mga micro, small, medium enterprise shall also deemed as obliged enterprises when the total value of all such enterprise carrying the same brand, label, or trademark exceeds 100 million pesos. So they will be covered. Compliance by the obliged enterprises shall be true as individual enterprise, as collective, or as producers responsibility organization or the PROs. The existing EPR law covers 4 types of plastic packaging. This plastic packaging for avoidance, reduction, recovery, for diversion. This includes, one is the flexible packaging. Flexible plastic packaging like the sachet, labels, and laminates, and other flexible plastic packaging products, whether single or multi-layered, with plastic or other materials. Another type of plastic is the rigid plastics like containers for beverages, food, and cosmetic products, including yung coverings, cups, lids, drinking straws, sticks, cutlery, and plates. The third is the single-use bags and other bags. And lastly is the polystyrene, which includes styrofoam. Enterprises which are not covered by the existing EPR. As a general rule, SMEs or this micro, small, medium scale enterprises are not covered by the EPR law, but they are encouraged to practice the EPR voluntarily or be a part of the network of the obliged enterprise or the producers responsibility organizations, which is or which will be practicing the EPR. However, the micro, small, and medium enterprises shall also be deemed as obliged enterprises when the total value of all of such enterprises carrying the same brand or trademark exceeds 100 million pesos. This is under the RA 9701. So pag lumagpas na sila sa 100 million, they will be covered by the EPR law. Compliance period for the plastic packaging waste recovery programs. So under Part 4, Section 18 ng 9003, so the law envisions achieving plastic neutrality by phases. So by phase naman po ang ating pag-i-implement ng law. The target is 20% by the end of this year and 40% next year, 2024, and then 50% in 2025, 60% in 2026, 70% the following year, 2027, end of 2027, and 80% in the next year and 2028, and every year end thereafter. So plastic neutrality is achieved where for every amount of plastic footprint created, an equivalent amount is recovered or removed from the environment. So ito po yung ating compliance target. Hopefully ay ma-achieve po natin ito. Sample illustration of the EPR program flow. So we have these obliged enterprises, collectives, and PROs. So they will be needing to PR program for the consumers, and then the consumers based on the program will i-hand over nila yung kanilang waste could be to the LGU, SWM, solid waste management, or to the retailers, the distributors of waste, collectors, aggregators, or diverters. So dito sa EPR program, the volume of the waste should be determine how much will be used for, how much will be reused, recycled, or how much volume will be sent to the WTE, or waste to energy, or waste to fuel, or other type of treatments. And the other waste is for the landfill, the residual disposal. And then if they need to redesign, do some redesign the product, no? So the obliged enterprises or the PROs should also be provide information on how to make it more effectively and efficiently use the product. These are just example of the EPR program flow. The obliged enterprises are to submit, as I've mentioned, are to submit the EPR program for plastic packaging that are on redesign, reuse, and recycling, among others. These programs are to be done in different entities. Define and describe the post-recovery disposition, whether it will be for reuse, recycling, feedstock for co-processing, waste to fuel, waste to energy, or other technological applications, which is allowed by law or rule. Or as I mentioned, how much volume would it be for the disposal at the landfill? The obliged enterprises or their PRO shall engage in an independent third-party auditor to certify the veracity of the reported plastic product footprint generation, recovery, and the EPR program compliance using uniform standards established by the department. The audited report shall be submitted by the obliged enterprise or their PRO to the department. The certified reports on plastic product footprint generated and recovered by the obliged enterprises shall be made available to the public through the website of the department. So generally, this is a brief presentation of the EPR law, and that would be my last slide. And if you have any questions or clarifications with me, I am joined by Attorney Ivy. So kung meron po kayong mga clarifications and questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that very informative presentation, Engineer SP. Good morning po ulit sa ating participants here in Zoom and everyone joining us via DTI Consumer Care Facebook and DTI Philippines YouTube. Let us now proceed po with our question and answer portion. Short reminder lang po sa ating mga participants to stay muted unless you're addressing the speaker or moderator directly. Please be also informed na makakapag-download po kayo ng copy ng presentation material after you accomplish the client satisfaction form that will be posted in the chat box section. Para po mas maging interactive ang ating question and answer portion, we encourage everyone to click the raise hand button so we can call you to ask directly to our speaker. Pwede rin pong isend ang inyong questions sa ating chat box. So magpapasa muna po tayo ng questions. So for our first question po, how will the EPR be implemented? Will large enterprises need to register?
Yes. So they need to provide or to submit EPR program to EMB. So kailangan po nila.
So kailangan lang po yung registration. Saan po pwede pong makuha yung registration form po nito? Or saan pwede mag-register?
Yes. Attorney Ivy.
Attorney Ivy, good morning po.
Good morning.
Yes po, good
Attorney
morning.
Ivy can provide the details.
Yes po, good morning to everyone po. So actually, the IRR has provided that the obliged enterprises should register their EPR programs with the National Ecology Center. So dito po yan sa aming office, sa Environmental Management Bureau, they will have to submit 3 copies. Manual po ang submission natin ng EPR registration, ng EPR program rather, dito po sa pa-receive po nila sa records namin. And nandun naman po in the IRR kung ano po yung mga need na documentary requirements and also the components of the EPR program that should be attached to the application.
So kailangan po mag-submit ng 3 copies.
Yes po.
Thank you po, Attorney Ivy. For our next question po, how will the OE be audited for the 20% reduction? So, sino pong sasagot sa inyo, ma'am?
Ako na din po. Okay, thank you for that question po. Actually po, we are yet to formulate audit standards. So sa ngayon, wala pa po tayong audit standards for upstream measures, but definitely for the downstream measures, all we need to see is that yung lumabas po na plastic packaging material for this year should have been recovered and diverted by the obliged enterprises. But for the upstream measures, hindi pa po natin yan masasagot sa ngayon. But please note it or indicate it in your EPR program, your strategies that were done from our framework. So we have 6 strategies from the framework. One of those strategies is the reduction. So please indicate that in your EPR program so that we could take note of it and ma-consider din po namin in the formulation of our guidelines. Audit standards.
Thank you po. Thank you po, Attorney Ivy. Ito po. Next question po. Which specific agency will be responsible for the registration and monitoring?
Yes po, it is still the DENR through the EMB National Ecology Center, which will cater to your registrations. And of course, once the procedural manual has been issued, we will be conducting compliance monitoring annual po.
Okay po. Thank you po, Attorney Ivy. Ito po, for consumers, can you enlighten us on the difference between downstream and upstream measures?
Okay, for upstream measures po, ito po yung hindi pa lumalabas sa market from our producers. Hindi pa siya naibebenta or hindi pa siya up for sale. For example, hindi pa siya dinadala sa supermarket for sale. Nasa inventory pa lang nila or ginagawa pa lang nila yung product. So they may have their own strategies and mechanism. For example, redesign or reduction of plastic content in their packaging material. So yun po yung mga upstream. Hindi pa siya tumatago sa merkado. Unlike in downstream measures, tumagos na siya sa merkado, na-consume na siya ng ating mga consumers at naging kalat na siya. So yun po yung kailangang masolusyonan ni producer, that the producer should recover, collect, and eventually the producer should divert to have it recycled or reused kung ano man po ang applicable doon sa kanilang plastic packaging material.
Thank you po, attorney. Ito po, attorney, follow-up question. Yung 20% combination of upstream and downstream na po yun?
Again, the procedural manual and the auditing standards are still being formulated right now. So, taking into consideration the literal interpretation of the law, yung lumabas po muna. So, we are talking about downstream. Yung lumabas po sa market na na-consume ng ating consumers, the producer should be collecting, recovering, and diverting the 20% of that. Well, so far as 2023 lang po ha, pero by 2024 iba na po ang ating compliance target.
Thank you po, attorney. For our next question naman po, will the National Registry and monitoring reports accessible to the public?
No, subject to the confidentiality, well, of course, the Bureau is mandated to post the compliant enterprises. But insofar as the audited reports are concerned, probably we will indicate that in the procedural manual and the auditing standards to be formulated. I think it's too early for me to answer that right now. So, insofar as the IRR is concerned, yung mga compliant probably i-post po namin yan, pero hindi po yung individual reports of every industry.
Thank you po, Attorney Ivy. May follow-up question po ulit from FMYTV. Ms. Rhea, pwede po kayo mag-unmute para po directly po kayo makapagtanong po kay Attorney Ivy. Okay, mahirap daw po siyang makapag-unmute ngayon. So ang follow-up question niya po, when is the target timeline for releasing the upstream measure?
We are targeting the auditing standards to be out by September 2023.
So by September 23 po. 2023 yung target.
And definitely, for all our participants, for the information of our participants, before we could issue those guidelines naman po, we will be conducting public consultations. And definitely, magi-invite po kami for our stakeholders' inputs and comments.
Thank you po, Attorney. May nag-raise hand po, pero wala po siyang name. Samsung SM. So, pwede po kayong mag-unmute para po makapag-ask kayo directly kay Attorney Ivy. So,
Hi,
sir.
Stephen. Hi, Stephen Kwa with the Supermarket Association. Sorry, I missed the wasn't looking at the screen during the presentation, but the 100 obliged enterprises are 100 million and above in terms of sales per year, or is that assets? Sorry.
Assets, sir. Assets excluding the land. So sa lahat po ng inyong assets, exclude lang po natin yung land.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you po, sir and Attorney Ivy. For our next question po, when do we expect the procedural manual and auditing standard to be...
I believe that, yes, that is already answered. Siya rin yata.
Ito po, I believe we need clarity in terms of monitoring and enforcement of the EPR law.
Yes po, that will reflect in the rules that we are formulating right now.
Thank you po. Next question po. Meron ng mga nag-submit ng EPR and PRO through email sa epr@emb.gov.ph. This time, need nang ipa-receive sa records po.
Yes po, nasa IRR po kasi in this first years po kasi while we are transitioning to our online portal, sa ngayon, po tayo talaga? Manual submission po tayo.
Thank you po. So manual submission po talaga. Ito po ba yung, sorry po, next question po. For OE after recovery of waste, our facility already issuing certificate? Where can we access the list of the facilities?
Okay, for our aggregators or waste diverters, I believe there are already entities that are issuing waste diversion certificates, such as those who are involved in co-processing or in different waste diversion strategies such as plastic to furniture. Ayan, nag-i-issue po sila. Sa ngayon po, wala pa po kaming exact list of all the waste diverters here in the country. So wala pa rin po tayong list. So it's up to the obliged enterprise to tie up with any waste diverters. Meron naman na po sila in place that are being issued as waste diversion certificate.
Thank you po, Attorney Ivy. May nag-raise hand po from Cleanway, Miss Karen. Miss Karen, good morning po. Pwede na po kayo mag-unmute.
Good morning. Attorney, just would like to ask, yung footprint na sinasabi natin for the EPR law, with regards to the manufacturer, ano yung side ng attorney? Yung sa upstream o sa downstream? Paano natin na-identify po yung footprint ng plastic na kailangan i-report?
Downstream po, ma'am, yung lumabas na po sa ating inventory. Yung lumabas na po papuntang market.
If, for example, kunyari yung client are, we are a registered PRO. So kung may, pasensya na po kayo, pause ako. So kung may kliyente ako na naglabas ng, for example, 5 sacks or 5 plastic sacks ng isa niyang produkto, yung footprint niya ay yung 5 quantity ng sacks or yung kilos nun. Tama po ba?
The plastic packaging material. The
Plastic
amount
packaging
of
material.
material in kilogram. So we actually do not care about the content, but the plastic packaging material used for that specific product only.
Okay, so that would be the weight ng 10 plastic
Yes.
sacks. Okay.
So for
Thank you,
example, for
attorney.
every 10 kilos, may 10 grams of sack. Something like that. So we need to see the aggregate of all your plastic packaging materials used in your specific brand, and that would be your basis for your compliance target. That is your plastic.
Okay. Thank you, attorney. Thank you, sir.
Our next question po. Ito po, related sa question kanina po. If manual submission to the central office po ba ito, paano po yung nasa region? Saan po sila dapat mag-submit ng documents?
Okay. Sa ngayon po kasi we are still in the process of mobilizing our regional ecology centers that should be able to cater our EPR application. So pwede naman po i-send nyo through registered mail kay EMB record section. Para hindi na kayo pumunta dito sa Metro Manila kasi ang hassle nga.
Thank you po, Atty. Next question po. Any plastic alternative research or help incentive and any help for cottage industry for plastic recycling?
Okay. Sa ngayon po, our DNR secretary would be in talks pa with the Department of Finance for incentivizing this EPR program implementation. But of course, in the law itself, it was stated that it is deductible as a necessary business expense. Pero on the specifics of that, on how that would be implemented, magkakaroon po ng high-level discussion pa between DOF and DENR.
Yan po, Attorney. So follow-up question, considered as null and void po yung nag-submit online?
We will treat that as an advanced copy, pero you really need to have a manual submission po kasi ine-evaluate po ng ating National Ecology Center.
Thank you po, ma'am. Nag-raise hand po ulit si Mr. Steven Kua. Sir?
Yeah, sorry. How about house brands, attorney? Supermarkets with house brands. Sagot ba ng supermarket yon lahat ng house brands done by many manufacturers, tall manufacturers?
Okay, house brand, meaning to say they put their own brand to the one they bought. Okay, ito po ang underlying principle in EPR, no? Number one, follow the brand. So if you are the manufacturer, the producer of the plastic packaging material, then definitely that is your footprint. However, if you um, dinala mo sa market yan and your consumer put their own brand to the plastic packaging material, I believe some supermarkets do that. They buy like sugar, for example, and then they put their own brand to the sugar, then definitely the plastic packaging material of that sugar would now fall under the one who brought your product and no longer yours.
No, attorney, I was repacking yung sinasabi niyo. What you're mentioning is
Yes.
repacking, no?
Okay.
I'm mentioning house brands. Like for example, SM, Bonus, di ba? Or Value. These are brands which, I mean, just to be clear, kasi maraming house brands, di lang naman sila, di ba? Pero yun na nga, if they have it manufactured, all manufacturer, no? Gumawa para sa kanila. But yung brand nilang nakalagay doon, nakalagay sa likod, manufactured by so-and-so company. Kaninong responsibility po yun?
Sa kanila po as brand owner. As brand owner, the one who put their own brand na po. Kasi po yun yung number one di ba? Brand owners, manufacturers. So we put priority dun po sa mga nag-put ng brand over their product. Kasi kung hindi natin matrace naman yung brand, pupunta tayo sino yung manufacturer. But insofar as hanggat kaya pong i-trace yung brand owner po ang ating hahabulin for accountability.
Clear, attorney. Thank you.
Thank you po.
Thank you po, attorney. Next question po. Products from Lazada, Shopee, how to regulate those imported products from third-party sellers? Will they be liable as well? That's what happened kasi sa FDA labeling, di makontrol imported products.
Yes, actually, that is one of the challenges right now. But I just want to call the attention na lang siguro nila ng ating mga courier or delivery services that they have to internally monitor their third-party sellers kasi that bears their brand. So yung packaging material po nung dumarating sa atin na dinideliver sa atin, because they carry, well, for example, Shopee or Lazada, that will become now the footprint of Shopee and Lazada respectively. So sana po kayo po i-regulate nyo rin po internally. Pwede naman nating, well, I don't know kung how would they be able to do that na ma-price din nila ang kanilang mga third-party sellers to minimize the plastic packaging. Kasi po in the end, that will become the footprint of those delivery services.
Thank you po, attorney. Next question po. How will the NSWMC, NEC ensure the veracity of the reported plastic product footprint and compliance with EPR targets?
Okay, so that will, I believe, will be reflected on the auditing standards to be formulated.
Okay po. Next question po. What are the different recovery programs that are obliged enterprises can do as part of their EPR program?
Okay, hindi kasi ako pwedeng mag-name branding dito, no? So, there are a lot of different strategies naman. Of course, for recovery, you need to collect. Depending on the classification. If you are generating flexible plastic packaging materials, then collect or recover flexible plastic packaging materials. So, as per what Ma'am SP has presented a while ago, it's up to the obliged enterprise to partner with different entities to make the diversion for them. For example, they may partner up with co-processing facilities or different recyclers, diverters, plastic to furniture. Yan po yung yun yung mga common. And definitely, ang ating last resort, kung hindi na talaga kaya, as per the mandate of RA 9003, kung residuals na lang yung inyong na-collect, for sanitary landfill na lang. Pero ang priority po natin is for our waste collected to be diverted. Yun po yung ating mini-measure.
Thank you po, attorney. Next question po. What are producer responsibility organizations?
Okay, those are, well, organizations to serve as viable platform for an obliged enterprises, like a networker or to help them implement their EPR program. For example, ang obliged enterprise, well, marami po kasing nag-walk-in sa amin na wala pong idea kung paano sila, like, wala kaming network, kung sino ang mga collectors, sino ang mga diverters, we don't even know how to design our EPR program. So, um, to be guided, for them to be guided, kung wala talaga po silang idea, they may member with producer responsibility organization, because the PRO will serve as the viable platform for them to do the, for example, networking, they have the connections for waste collectors and waste diverter, and the PRO may also design your EPR program. They already have that. So all you need to do is to implement it, your own EPR program. But they have the connections, the PR. So if you are lost, the PROs are there for you. And well, those other entities then, for example, as cement manufacturing, they may be an obliged enterprise, and at the same time, pwede rin silang maging waste diverter. Yung iba gusto rin nilang mag-apply as PRO. So pwede po kayong lumapit sa kanila.
Okay po. Thank you po, attorney. Ito po, meron po siyang follow-up question. Shopee Lazada question follow-up. What do you mean sana po? We all know na third party means no liability. How do you make them self-regulate and not sana po lang?
Okay, I'm so sorry for that term. So, I hope no na kasi po it's really Lazada and Shopee which will have to bear the plastic footprint of that of that packaging material na napupunta na po sa ating general consumers. Literal interpretation of the law. Yun po, carrying the brand. So, well, it will be Lazada's and Shopee's plastic footprint po, subject to audit.
Okay po. Thank you po, attorney. Next question po. How can consumers support the EPR law?
Okay, so this is, well, while it is termed as the Extended Producer Responsibility Act, what makes it challenging is the fact that we need to engage our consumers as well in the implementation of this law. So our producers may have their mechanisms on, for example, yung mga merong supermarkets na meron na silang bins for drop-off ng mga bottles, plastic bottles. So yung mga ganon, in that very little ways na i-involve po natin ang ating mga consumers. And also, actually one of the upstream measures is for the producers to conduct IEC, Information and Education Campaign, para po maging aware din ng ating mga consumers na hindi lang sila basta tapon ng kanilang mga basura kung saan-saan. Pwede nilang ipunin yan, ipadala sa MRF or ibenta sa junk shop. So sa ganung mga paraan po, makakatulong ang ating mga consumers sa atin.
Okay po. Thank you po, attorney. Next question. Nag-raise hand po ulit ni Mr. Steven Kua. Good morning po, sir. Sir, may follow-up questions po kayo?
Yes, sorry. Nakamute kasi, minute ng host. Attorney, how can you tell if a product, there are so many fast-moving consumer goods sold both online and in supermarkets offline, no? How can you tell if a product was sold online or offline? How can you tell who's gonna be picking up after the used packaging?
After the used packaging.
Yes. You
So,
mentioned a while ago that online operators have pick up, diba, after the used packaging if they sold the item, right? On top of the many plastic bubble wraps that they use, na nagkumakalat, diba? But yung used packaging ng product, no, ng FMCG product which is sold online, whose responsibility is it to collect the used packaging? Is it the manufacturer or is it the online operator?
okay, I will not answer depending on those two options, no. But for management of our solid waste, that should be governed by RA 9003. Now, what the producer's responsibility is under EPR Act is the fact that they need to recover and divert the the percentage depending on the year, of course 20% for 2023 of what they have transmitted to the market for consumption of the general public. So, hindi po literal kung ano yung lumabas sa kanila, yun din yung need nilang i-recover. But the counterpart percentage, 20%, for example, they are generating flexible plastic packaging, they may recover the equivalent classification and not brand specific. Masyado naman pong mahirap yon on the part of our producers kung halimbawa, sige magbigay na tayo ng brand 6 na bigay na kayo ng brand kanina, si SM Bonus, literal na SM Bonus din yung kailangan niyang i-collect. But kunwari yung packaging ng asukal that is flexible, SM may recover the counterpart 20% of that amount of plastic footprint flexible doon po sa kanyang recovery target. So yun po,
Attorney, I was referring more to the fact that there are some items, FMCG, which may eventually sell more online, or they might use that tack, no, to sell online more than they do offline, no? So,
sorry sir, what is FMCG?
fast-moving consumer goods. I mentioned a while ago, no? So these are the consumer goods which sell, very quickly day to day, no? So some might use the tack to sell online na lang since hindi ma-track, no? If they, wala na silang responsibility to collect the used packaging.
Responsibility to collect the used packaging, as I've said, it is to be governed by RA 9003. But insofar as the brand owner is concerned, kung ano po yung nilabas niya sa market na plastic footprint, kailangan niyang mag-recover and divert the certain percentage of that. Hindi po brand specific. So, it's up to the producer actually if it wants na yung mismong lumabas sa kanya, yun din yung i-recover niya. But the law states that it is class specific and not brand specific.
What I'm saying lang, attorney, is that they might use the tact, no? A marketing tact of selling online na lang at hindi offline, di ba? That
But
way,
definitely, brand pa rin naman po nila yun, subject to audit.
Thank you, attorney.
Thank you po, attorney. Next question po. Who are the stakeholders or beneficiaries of this EPR law?
Well, primarily, ang makikinabang po rito ang ating kalikasan pag nakita nating na-implement itong mabuti, no, na 20%, 40%, 60% of the totality or the aggregate of plastic packaging materials na tumagos sa market, that the producers were able to recover and divert it and reintegrate it back to the system. But of course, sabi nga, to borrow the words of our consultant before, no, na career maker itong EPR, because before wala naman tong EPR, the producers are not responsible throughout the life cycle of their plastic packaging materials, and now that the law has made them responsible throughout the life cycle of their products, marami din pong career opportunities ang pwedeng umusbong because of this. Yung most especially for informal waste collectors, they may be involved in this EPR na before they collect, tapos wala lang nangyayari, but they may partner, for example, they may offer their services to an obliged enterprise for them to do the collection. Yun po. So, marami pong pwedeng umusbong na career opportunities dito. Waste collectors, waste diverters, the obliged enterprise, well, it's up to them to partner up with different entities. Actually, the LGUs nga walang direct mandate to the LGUs ang ating EPR Act, but the LGUs themselves, they can offer their services to the obliged enterprises, no, for them to become the waste collectors or the waste diverters, as the case may be, if they have their technologies or mechanisms for that. So napakalawak po nitong EPR Act, and sana po, again, sana lahat po tayo maging involved dito in EPR Act because this is a very challenging law.
Thank you po, attorney. Ito po, next question. To clarify lang po, for example, I am producing product A. but in order to produce product A, I'm using raw material B and C. For downstream, does this mean na yung responsible lang kami for recovery is for my product A and not the RM, B, and C?
Okay, so yung ginagamit nyo po as raw materials, the plastic packaging material of that would now be your industrial waste, which is not covered under the EPR Act. But if you have generated plastic packaging waste to protect your product, then definitely that plastic packaging waste is covered by EPR. So yung ginamit nyo po as raw mats, yung plastic packaging material of that is industrial waste and not plastic. Kasi po ang EPR Act is it only pertains to plastic packaging materials that are consumed by the general public. And you are not the general public. You are the industry consuming that plastic packaging material, and definitely that is considered industrial waste.
Thank you po, attorney. Next question po. Until when po ang registration? As per law, February po ang deadline. Until when po grace period? Especially some OE are finding hard to find post-recovery facility to complete the EPR program.
Okay, actually, yes, the law mandated that obliged enterprises establish their or phase in their EPR implementation within 6 months from the effectivity of the law. And that was August 12, 2022. 6 months after that was February 12, 2023. But we are still accepting po your EPR program. Well, I am not competent person to say kung magkakaroon ba ng grace period. Kasi yan po yung laging tinatanong eh. But that would be DENR action na po, which is wala pa naman po akong balita kung magkakaroon. But please, submit your EPR registration po. Ngayon, kahit ngayon po, we are still catering and accepting EPR registrations.
Thank you po, attorney. For our next question po, nag-benchmark po ba ang DENR sa other EPR initiative or progress ng other ASEAN countries? Do we have a model in mind na gustong i-pattern or follow ang programs?
Okay, sa ngayon po, perhaps I'm not competent enough to answer that because it is our legislators po kasi which crafted the law. So ngayon po, probably may iba't ibang technology naman po na available sa atin. Yun na lang po siguro yung ating sundin. But you know, our EPR Act is very ideal, no? Ang target natin is 80%. Other countries kasi, they were already implementing EPR as early as 90s. Actually, meron na ngang EPR for cans, aluminums, paper, cartons, yung ibang bansa. And now, ngayon po, bago pa lang itong EPR sa Philippines. So, tingnan natin kung ano po ang magiging implementation nitong EPR for plastic packaging na lang. But take note po next in line na rin po, the National Ecology Center would be recommending for the inclusions for priority items po yung different packaging materials in the years to come, such as the paper, cartons, yun po.
Okay po, thank you po, attorney. Nag-raise hand po ulit si Sir Steven Kua. Sir? Good morning po.
Yes, yung nakamute kasi sa host eh. Yeah, attorney, we go back to what was being discussed all those years and decades before, no? On plastic bags, the supermarkets. So who's going to be collecting that now?
For collection, sir, again, 9003 will govern. But for purposes of EPR Act, kung gaano yung lumabas sa inyo, whether it be your own brand or plastic bags, yes. Yung iba kasi hindi na naglalagay ng brand, no?
Walang brand
yun
yun.
nga po,
Iba-ibang source nun eh.
Hindi na sila naglalagay ng brand. Pero kung sino po yung naglabas ng plastic packaging, which is supermarket. Kanya po yun. Yes, but, kung may plastic packaging ng supermarket.
Yeah, yung iba.
Pero siya po yung naglabas sa market nun.
Karamihan
That's
walang
a
brand
way
eh.
of circumvention of the law. Yung hindi nila nilalagyan ng brand, di ba?
Yes, yes.
But
It's
supposedly,
cheaper.
dapat for plastic footprint nila yun.
Well, attorney, it's much cheaper kasi so that it redounds to cheaper, items in the supermarket when you provide plastic bags without printing the name on it, no? Yeah, that's the reason why walang print. Otherwise, everybody wants it printed kasi advertisement yan di ba? So what happens? Walang print. And karamihan ng supermarkets walang print eh. So whose responsibility is it now?
Kasi sir, pag ganun, lahat na lang, hindi na lang maglalagay ng brand just so that yung mga brand owners ay hindi na natin mahabol, no? Pag ganyan po, sino po ba ang responsible? Again, this is extended producers' responsibility. Sino po ba ang responsible kaya magkakaroon ng kalat sa Pilipinas? Sino ba ang naglabas niyan to be consumed by our general public? It is the supermarket. So dapat po i-declare yan ng ating supermarket na nag-i-issue kami ng plastic bag. At yan po ay dapat kasama sa plastic footprint ng ating supermarket.
Kasi attorney, we also sell plastic bags on top of giving it
If
out
you're
as
selling plastic bag,
yes, general
without
public ang
your
bumibili.
general public,
Karinderya,
whose
mga
brand is it?
karinderya,
Whose
smaller
brand is it?
retailer.
Kaninong brand po? Kaninong brand?
Walang brand yun eh. Walang brand yun.
You are selling plastic bags without brand, yung nakalagay po sa estante na walang brand. May brand
yes,
po.
attorney. Attorney, kumpanya lang, pero walang brand yung plastic bag.
The company manufacturing, di ba? Brand owners, manufacturers, importers. Yan po ang ating producers.
Attorney, most supermarkets source from different suppliers of plastic bags eh.
So
Kasi
the
yung iba,
suppliers would be
imported yung iba,
but if
galing
it is
China.
imported, if you are importing it, then definitely you are the one responsible kaya po magkakaroon ng marine litter sa Pilipinas. Yan lang naman po ang ating bottom line eh. Sino yung dapat nating habulin na may pakana kung bakit magkakaroon ng plastic waste sa Pilipinas? Nakakalat-kalat ay pwedeng umago sa ating mga katubigan. Di ba? One of the key strategies in the prevention of marine litter is this EPR Act actually. So yun po ang kailangan naming i-trace. Kung sino po yung kung nag-import, so the importer. Kung siya yung manufacturer without having to attach its brand, the manufacturer. So yun po yung three types of producers natin.
I understand, attorney. I understand. I'm just trying to pinpoint right now clearly para hindi later on magturuan kung sino ang may kasalanan. Kasi these suppliers, no, I'm sure they're not obliged enterprises, hindi malalaki. See, so saan mo hanapin? Yun ang point ko, no? I'm asking you now. I'm telling you in reality, no? Saan nyo hahanapin? How do we track these companies, no? Para hindi sabihin, itong supermarket ang nagbenta. In one avenue, ilan ang supermarkets doon, no? Diba? And a lot of them don't have wala nakatatak doon sa supot, no? And we source, from multi-sourcing kami, no? Hindi lang isang nagprovide ng plastic bag. Yun lang, just to let you know.
Yes, sir. Noted po. Most probably, we will clarify that in our auditing standards din. And
Thank
our
you.
procedural manual.
Thank you.
Thank you po, attorney. And po, tama, attorney. Baka po pwede po kami manghingi ng contact details or email nyo po kung saan po pwede magtanong kapag mga masyadong technical na yung questions, pwedeng mag-email po sa inyo. Palagay na lang po sa chat box.
But ano naman, madali lang siyang alalahanin. It's epr@emb.gov.ph.
Ayan po. Thank you po, attorney, for answering the questions po. Ito po, next question po. When will DNR come out with guidelines on how to count or credit sustainable packaging materials like biodegradable or compostable plastic or inclusion of post-consumer resin in plastic packaging?
Okay, again, we are yet to formulate our auditing standards and our procedural manual. But I want to address that biodegradable plastic because still it is plastic even if sabihin natin it will shortcut yung kanyang pagde-decompose because 'di ba plastic packaging materials actually outlive as for example ang plastic bottles for 150 years yan na nagre-remain sa ating environment, whereas yung ating biodegradable plastics for example mga sandali lang, but nonetheless that is still plastic packaging be declared as your footprint. Yun po muna ang ating isipin. But definitely, yung questions nyo po on different upstream measures will be considered in the auditing standards.
Thank you po, Attorney. Next question po, where to apply as PRO?
You can submit your applications as well in the National Ecology Center. Kasi po, tatlo po ang ating modes of compliance, no? Individual, collective, and PRO. So, please, bago po kayo mag-apply as PRO, kailangan may miyembro na po kayo because kailangan din po nating makita yung roster of members no, as attached in your application.
Okay po. Thank you po. Next question po. What is the role of the informal waste sector?
Yan. Again, while the law has not directly mandated the LGUs, different entities, kasi obliged enterprise lang po talaga ang mandated for accountability dito kay EPR Act. But the obliged enterprise may tie up or may partner up with different entities, including the informal waste sector, for waste collection or waste diverter if they are capable of doing that. So, kayo po as waste collector or informal waste collector, perhaps pwede kayong kumonek sa ating obliged enterprise and ipakita nyo sa kanila what you can do for them. Kasi po, in the end, ang accountability po nitong EPR Act ay obliged enterprise po. Obliged enterprises po yung mape-penalize kapag hindi po sila comply doon sa ating diversion targets, yung plastic neutrality targets na yan na 20% ngayong 2023 and so on.
Thank you po. Next question po. How do you intend to measure or monitor the compliance of the companies? Meron na po ba kayong identified or estimated number of companies that will be monitored under this law? Kailan magsisimula ang monitoring period?
Okay. Actually po, the DTI has the list of all the large enterprises, and we are in the process of partnering up with the DTI for that. And as per the list of DTI and PSA, there are around more or less 5,000 large enterprises na last 2021 pa yata yung nakita ko. So iisa-isahin po namin yun na i-monitor. But of course, caveat and pending the formulation of our procedural manual for us to do the monitoring. But definitely po, bibisitahin po namin kayo isa-isa. We will do our best to monitor that 5,000, more or less 5,000 large enterprises para tingnan ang compliance with the EPR Act.
Okay po. Thank you po, Attorney. Next question po. If there is no list of waste diverters, who is going to initiate it?
Actually, we will be moving around the country for us to conduct survey research of all the waste diverters there. But if there is an existing waste diverter, they can already issue their waste diversion certificate. Of course, again, subject to our procedural manual and auditing standards to be formulated.
Okay po. Next question po, Attorney. For products specifically for export, will the regulatory body would give them leeway as long as they adhere to the plastic law on that country importing the goods?
For export, for example, dito sa Pilipinas, kayo yung manufacturer, ini-export nyo. Kasi hindi po obliged enterprise yung exporters. The law only stated that it is the importers which will be accountable under the EPR Act. Kasi nga, dinala nila dito sa Pilipinas yung kalat sana ng ibang bansa, di ba? Tapos dito kakalat sa Pilipinas. But if you are the one exporting plastic packaging materials, then definitely hindi po yan kasama sa plastic footprint nyo, yung ine-export nyong products.
Next question po. Who would be responsible for tarpaulins or promotional materials that are being produced by third-party entities but bearing the logos of the manufacturer that are not being produced by the manufacturer directly but bear their logos? Will DNR come out with clear guidelines on who owns the footprint for cases like this where the one who produced the plastic is different from the brand owner?
Okay. Again ha, ang EPRI, kino-consider nating producer yung may brand. So kung nakita po yung katulad niyan yung nasa likod po ng ating host, no, yung DTI Philippines Consumer Policy Advocacy Bureau, that is a promotional material, a tarpaulin, which is considered a rigid plastic packaging under the EPR Act, then definitely, so hindi naman obliged enterprise si DTI, but that is plastic footprint of DTI. Kasi po, bearing the brand of DTI. So if you, for example, nag-sponsor kayo ng fiesta, may mga banderitas kayo, that is promotional items, at nakita natin ang inyong brand doon, no matter who the manufacturer of that tarpaulin is, nandun po kasi yung inyong brand. So inyo po yung plastic packaging material.
Okay po. Thank you po, Attorney. Next question po. What are the DENR's current or existing strategies or program to promote and encourage companies to establish and implement their EPR program?
Well, aside from the fact that it is mandated by the law, no, that producers implement their EPR programs dahil may fines and penalties po kapag hindi nakakomply sa ating targets. Again, as I've said earlier, magkakaroon din po, actually the DENR secretary is in talks with different government agencies, most specifically for incentivizing the costs for the implementation of this EPR program.
Po. Thank you po, Attorney. Next question po. What are the EPR assistance program that DENR is offering to large enterprises? May database ba where they can access resources or linkages to PROs or waste processors?
So actually, hindi po kami kasi pwedeng recommend ng PROs or or different entities. But definitely, yun na po yung incentivizing large enterprises, which will be in talks pa ang aming secretary with different government agencies. Yun po talaga yung bottom line nito, that the obliged enterprise would definitely be incentivized because of the implementation of this EPR program.
Okay po. Thank you po, Attorney. Next question po. Does DENR conduct capacity building on EPR in order to close knowledge gaps and create collective, aligned, and understanding among stakeholders?
Yes po. We are targeting to have orientations and seminars with different stakeholders for the nitty-gritty of this law. Kasi nga naman mahirap siyang intindihan if this is just like this in general orientation. So we target to mobilize our IEC for us to deal with specific stakeholders.
Okay po. Thank you po, Attorney Ivy. Next question po. Under the EPR law, mandatory na ba to all LGUs to implement policies and programs for segregation of waste or waste reduction, recovery, recycling, or voluntary efforts pa rin po ba ito?
Actually, 9003 pa lang po, that is a 2-decade-old law, ay talagang LGU po ang ating implementer. So, ang APR, again, wala pong exact mandate ang ating batas on the participation of the LGU. It's up to the obliged enterprise if they want to partner up with a specific LGU to do the waste collection or the waste diversion to them if they are capable of doing that. Ano naman to killing two birds in one stone naman to, di ba? The EPR Act may be a way to help the LGUs to comply with their solid waste management plans for their reporting under RA 9003. So now, the LGUs may partner up with the obliged enterprises para po two-way ang benefit natin dito. The obliged enterprise may benefit because nakipag-partner sila sa LGU to do the collection for them or to do the diversion for them. And of course, the LGUs would be compliant as well to their solid waste management plans because nakipag-partner up nga sila kay obliged enterprises. So yun po ang dyan, ang interplay between the LGU and our obliged enterprises.
Thank you po, Attorney Ivy. Ito po, next question po. Since guidelines are not yet finalized as of now, is it possible that deadline for the first year will be adjusted?
No po, at wala pa naman po akong nababalitaan na magkakaroon ng adjustments because of course we target it to be released before the year ends at ang ating compliance target naman ay by the end of 2023 you should have diverted 20% of what you have generated by 2023, but of course sa ating IRR nakalagay po it is self-declaration. So it's up to you, the obliged enterprise, to determine your plastic footprint, whether it be based on your past sales history or it would be projected. It's up to you. We do not need to know the formula for that. But definitely, kailangan po may compliance na kayo for first year, 2023.
Okay po, thank you po, Attorney. If meron pa pong questions sa mga consumers, pwede po kayo maglagay sa chat box or mag-raise hand po para po directly po kayo makapagtanong kay Attorney. Next question po. Are PEZA registered companies exempted from EPR law?
Okay, wala po kasing binigay sa ating EPR Act na pertaining to PEZA, no? But only those MSMEs are exempted under the EPR Act.
Thank you po, Attorney. Next question po. What inspired the creation or development of this law? How is this different from other environmental solid waste management act? Effective ba in meeting the objectives or purpose of the law ng solid waste management related law in the country?
Okay, so I don't think I can speak in behalf of our legislators, no? Pero kasi meron na ding EPR yung iba't ibang countries, especially in Europe, they are already implementing EPR as early as 1990s. Kaya magaganda na rin ang EPR programs nila at yun ang ina-adapt ng Philippines para po, ang inspiration talaga nito is this is one of the key strategies for the prevention of marine litter. Ang na-envision po ay come 2028 and every year thereafter, halos wala na malamang na plastic packaging material ang kakalat-kalat sa ating mga katubigan. Yan po yung target talaga, kaya nga po, and circular economy of course. So yun po yung mga inspiration dito sa pag-i-enact ng ating batas na to. Plus the fact na malilesen talaga yung mga plastic packaging materials na kumakalat sa ating mga water bodies.
Thank you po, Attorney. Ito po, may nag-raise hand po from Cleanway, Ms. Karen Paranada. Good morning po, Ms. Karen.
Good morning ulit. Sir, kanina na-mention ni Attorney regarding dun sa PEZA na hindi siya covered nung EPR law. Bilang PRO and most nung mga industrial companies are under PEZA, they could partner with the local government units like for the SWS nila. Kaya lang, there are certain rules sa mga industrial parts na hindi nakakapasok yung mga trucks with regards the LGU. So, can the PRO covered for the PEZA para mag leeway for the industrial companies to partner with LGUs? Malinaw po ba yung tanong ko, Attorney?
Sorry, parang medyo hindi ko rin na-catch up. But definitely, ito na lang po ha. It's up to the obliged enterprise kasi to design their mechanisms or you as the PRO kasi to make the arrangements for that. All we need to see on the part of us, the regulatory agency, is kung magkakaroon ng compliance. So yan, ito pong arrangements with different entities, with the LGUs, ano na po yan, internal nyo na po yan.
Thank you po, Attorney. Next question po. If you have existing programs for reduction of plastic waste before EPR law, is it still possible to use this for the compliance of the EPR law?
Okay, so again, absent the auditing standards pa no, on the reduction. But there are there are ano din naman, there are minimum standards to be followed under the IRR, which are very technical. Sorry, I can discuss it in depth, yung mga upstream measures, no? That is in the IRR, yung mga minimum standards for it to be considered na kailangan nyo pong i-indicate sa inyong EPR program so that we could take note of it as your accomplishment.
Thank you po, Attorney. May nag-raisan po ulit from Consumer JV. Hello po, ma'am or sir.
Hello po, good morning. Good morning, Attorney Ivy. Baka po natanong na to kanina, pero I would like to clarify. We are required to basically offset post-consumer waste, no, plastic waste. We would like to ask kung yung mga plastic waste na na-generate namin from our activities, counted ba yon sa pag-offset? Kasi basically, they are classified as post-consumer pa din. Yun nga lang, the consumer is an industrial entity.
Yeah, and that is not EPR-able. And that is because that will be treated as industrial waste and not post-consumer waste. Kailangan po kasi ang post-consumer waste are those that are consumed by the general public and not by the industry. Because if it is the industry which consumed it, that is industrial waste.
Okay po. So if we recycle our own waste, they cannot be credited as offsetting.
Okay. Kasi po ito yan, no, ating pag-recover and divert should be those na lumabas na sa ating market. So yun po dapat nating i-collect. So yung ating industrial waste should be governed by RA 9003 and not by the EPR Act.
Okay po. Noted po. Thank you po.
Okay po, thank you po. Time check, it's already 11:32 a.m. po. Last call na po sa mga gusto magtanong from our consumers or private sectors. Otherwise, we will close the session na po. For our last two questions po. Ito po. Under EPR law, producers of packaging materials being used by manufacturers to pack their finished goods will not be held accountable on plastic neutrality goal, since the accountability to recover the plastic waste will fall under manufacturers who will dispatch these finished goods to the consumer.
Basta po, let's always put in mind the difference between industrial waste and post-consumer waste. EPR Act makes the producers accountable for the plastic packaging wastes used by general public. So yun po.
Okay po. For our last question, like hazard waste, may nag-raise hand po. Pero basahin ko muna po itong last question bago po yung nag-raise hand. Okay po. For our last question, like hazard waste hauler, is there timeline when the DENR can publish the accredited PRO, diverter, and other things? How can OA check on proper treatment of post-recovery waste?
Sorry, parang medyo hindi klaro sa akin yung question. Hindi ko siya ma-digest. Kaya, kung nandito po si Sir Ryan, pwede bang paki-elaborate?
I-clarify na lang po, Sir Ryan, yung question niyo po.
Hello po, ma'am.
Hello po, Sir Ryan.
Hello po.
Good morning po.
Ma'am, ang question ko lang po is, since like house-based haulers, yung mga OEs, nalalaman nila yung proper disposal ng mga waste na industrial waste, kung saan napupunta. Ito naman po sa EPR law, since yung mga OEs ay kailangan maghanap ng diverters or PROs, wala man timeline si DENR para i-publish kung sino yung mga accredited na DENR para lang yung mga OEs is kampante na tama yung disposal ng mga waste, post-recovery waste na recovered ng companies.
Okay, sa ngayon po kasi wala pa po kaming way of accreditation ng waste diverter. So probably, again, that would be reflected sa ating accreditation standards then to be formulated. So sa ngayon po, yun, wala po. Kung meron po kayong mga partner, yan, katulad ng mga hauler nyo, that processes or diverts your plastic packaging wastes, then ask them to issue the certificate of diversion to you. That would be audited anyway.
Thank you po.
Thank you.
Sir Nico or Ma'am Nico Abadicillo. Sir? Sir, naka-mute po kayo, sir.
Sir, naka-mute po kayo. Wala pong tunog.
Mute po kayo, sir.
Yan, okay na? Okay na?
Ayan.
Yeah. A while ago, the host was disallowing me to unmute anyway. It's part of your check and balance, I think. Now, I'm from the Glass Manufacturer Association of the Philippines. No? Meron lang akong idea, Attorney Ivy. Since this is going to be a nationwide campaign on implementing the law, why do we not apply the same approach that we're doing for filing our income tax every year, no? In which case, when you file your program for the EPR implementation, you definitely have your numbers with you, the amount of waste that you expect to generate for a whole fiscal year. Now, in terms of filing, your year-on-year consumption of plastic materials and year-on-year expected accumulation of your post-consumer plastics. I think it is but proper, since this is going to be a state statutory matter, that obligated enterprises be responsible enough, like you're filing your income tax every year, no, to document this properly and let the government assess and probably size up if what you have been doing is good enough. Because the implementation of the program, you see here at 20%, 30%, 40%. But if it is not properly regulated, as in what we are doing now for the finance fiscal situation of the country in terms of collecting the taxes. What do you think, Attorney? I think that is the best, effective, ideal, fair enough approach into implementing this law. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that very valuable comment po, no? Because actually, di ba, since this is a new law, lahat po tayo dito medyo nangangapa, actually, in the part of us, as the regulators, and of course, in the part of the obliged enterprises, kasi marami nga ring nagpupunta na sa akin dito sa EMB at nagtatanong na, hala, hindi pa namin po alam kung paano yung ganito, yung ganyan. Mapipenalize na po ba kami? But anyway, ang bottom line naman po kasi niyan, and thank you for that, Sir Nico, no, that if we just have it and put it in the mindset na, oh, we need to comply, no, for the benefit of our environment. Hindi tayo dapat, mahirapan because yung heart natin is really for compliance. So, thank you for that, sir. I hope po all of our stakeholders would put that in their mind and in their heart. Yung
I'm sharing this, Attorney, because I'm a senior member of the society already. Actually, I mean by November period in terms of age, no. So I hope the future youth who are going to be the next pillars of the society will realize this, because if the law will not be implemented as such from the original objective to reduce the solid waste generation, it will just be like a mingas kugon eh. And then comes a new administration, and then they have brighter ideas, probably different focus. Baka mamatay yung ambition nating circular economy. And the worst is baka lumala as the population is growing. So, yun lang. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sir Nico, and thank you po, Attorney Ivy. Maraming salamat po sa mga nagtanong. Thank you po, Attorney Ivy de Peligro. Thank you for answering all the questions. We hope na marami pong natutunan ng ating mga participants. Before we close this session, we would like to request Engineer Esperanza and Attorney Ivy to give a short message to our participants and share with them Department of Environment and Natural Resources contact details para po sa kanilang other concerns. Engineer Esperanza and Attorney Ivy, short message lang po to our participants.
Ayan, hindi ko lang sure kung is Ma'am SP still connected, no? But for me, from the National Ecology Center po, I just want to inform everyone that we are still accepting EPR registration, and we are we are planning actually for a grand launch. I just don't know if the date is finalized, and we will have on-site registration or submission of EPR programs. I hope to see you there. We will be posting invitation for that event, for the grand launch of the EPR. And I hope to see you there. And I hope po that all of the obliged enterprises would be able to comply with this EPR Act. And thank you for DTI for this lecture, seminar, kasi hindi naman din lahat in our lectures in the DENR, hindi naman din lahat nakaka-attend. So thank you very much for providing this platform.
Again, thank you po ulit, Attorney Ivy. Thank you po ulit and to our speaker po kanina, Engineer Esperanza A. Sahul. Thank you again to Department of Environment and Natural Resources. Before we close this session, we would like to once again invite our participants to subscribe to our DTI 1384 SMS upang makatanggap ng important reminders and updates mula sa DTI Consumer Protection Group for free. I-scan lang ang QR code na nakalagay sa inyong mga screens. Again, this service is free of charge. This is to formally close our webinar for today. Muli, maraming salamat sa ating very capable speaker from the Department of Environment and Natural Resources ngayong umaga. At mula po sa Consumer Protection Group, maraming salamat po sa mga participants na nakasama natin ngayong umaga. Huwag niyo pong kalimutang samahan kaming muli sa aming mga susunod na webinars. Our announcements will be posted in our social media accounts. For more updates, please like, follow, and subscribe to our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube accounts, DTI Consumer Care, DTI 1384, and DTI Philippines. Also, kindly accomplish and submit the survey form para makakuha din po kayo ng link at para ma-download ang presentation material na ginamit ngayong umaga. Thank you so much, everyone, and stay safe.
Para sa ating mamamayang Pilipino, para iwas daya dapat wais at alisto. Mainam maging mapagmatsyag at mapanuri tayo, palakasin ang boses ng ating mga konsumer. Dapat tama bawat presyo at serbisyo, produktong pasado lalo ang mga pangunahing bilihin. Ang kalidad ng mga produkto at serbisyo ay pangalagaan ng lahat, tayo ay panalo. Layunin ng DTI ito.
Ipatupad Price Act 7581, Consumer Act 7394, Product Standards 4109, for Consumer Care at iba pa, tayang 1384.
Ipalaganap karapatan at tungkulin, kaalamang tama sa consumer ibahagi. Tulay sa kaunlaran, kalakalan ay palakasin. Ito ang pagbabago para sa ikabubuti natin. Dapat tapat bawat presyo at serbisyo, produktong pasado lalo ang mga pangunahing bilihin. Ang kalidad ng mga produkto at serbisyo ay pangalagaan ng lahat, tayo ay panalo. Layunin ng DTI ito.
Ipatupad Price Act 7581, Consumer Act 7394, Product consumer care at iba pa. Dial 1384.
Dapat tama, dapat tapat, mula sa DTI ito.